We all knew eventually it was all going to come down to this. On Sunday, former President Donald Trump blamed the Democrats for the attempted assassination that occurred on his golf course during the course of the weekend. Tyrone Bowman live. In an article written and recorded by MSNBC, quote, the problem or problems with Trump blaming Dems for apparent assassination attempt. The more Donald Trump blames Democrats for apparent assassination attempts, the more outrageously wrong his argument appears. So let's get down to the essence of this story, as recorded by MSNBC. In July, after Donald Trump was targeted in an assassination attempt, the Republican did not immediately lash out as his perceived political foes. The former president's restraint did not last long, however, and he ultimately started blaming his critics for the shooting, without any evidence, of course, and amplifying conspiracy theories. As recently as a few weeks ago, Trump was blaming the Biden administration for the attempt on his life. Officials, quote, weren't too interested in my health and safety, close quote. He told television personality Phil McGraw, can't stand him, that racist over there. Yeah, I called him one. Yeah, Phil McGraw, Dr. Phil, whatever the hell y'all want to call him. He's an outright racist. And another conservative media ally questioned whether the shooting might have been an, quote, inside job, close quote. The former president responded, quote, you do have to wonder, close quote. See, this is the problem. When an ongoing investigation is occurring and you start throwing out spurious remarks and innuendos, and you're just blaming anything, anyone, and everybody without any scintilla of evidence whatsoever, now you're making it seem like everybody's out to get you. What happened down in Miami? Apparently, the individual has been arrested, and he should be arrested, and he should be charged to the fullest extent of the law. But trying to say that President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are the ones who orchestrated this and that they're the ones who are behind everything, that's just plain wrong. Because they could turn around and just say the same thing. You know, is this a publicity stunt? Is somebody doing this because he's sagging and lagging in the polls? You have to let this investigation go to where it's going to go. Now continue with the article from MSNBC. In the wake of Sunday's apparent assassination attempt, the Republican candidate is already on the offensive and pointing fingers without regard for evidence or propriety. Less than 24 hours after the alleged would-be shooter was taken into custody, Trump told Fox News Digital that the suspected, quote, acted, close quote, on, quote, highly inflammatory, quote, language of Democrats. So what about the rhetoric that he and J.D. Vance have been spewing out of their mouths all year long? What about the unfounded attacks on Vice President Kamala Harris concerning her race, her identity? You talked about her mother. You talked about her father. You condemned her for even being born. Nobody condemned you from being of German descent. Nobody condemned your father from migrating from Germany, coming to America. And this is one of the main reasons why he cannot be elected president. He has this vitriolic vendetta, hatred, bitterness, revenge, Hitleresque method way about him, that everybody's out to get him. Quote, he believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris, and he acted on it. Trump, see, what a lie. And notice he could only go to Fox News, the racist and bigoted network, and spew this garbage out of his mouth without them challenging him. This is his statement I'm reading. Nobody made this up. Quote, he believed the rhetoric of Biden and Harris, and he acted on it, close quote, meaning the shooter. How? How is that so? Trump said of the gunman in the interview with Fox News Digital, quote, their rhetoric is causing me to be shot at, close quote. Trump pointed to Biden and Harris's past comments casting Trump as a threat to democracy, while telling America they are unity leaders. Well, look at all the crap that's going on down in Ohio, Mr. Trump, without any type of scintilla of evidence. He said that the black Haitian American immigrants are responsible for, he said they're eating their dogs, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, the roaches, and whatever else he said. And who decided to descend upon the city down in Ohio? The KKK, the Proud Boys, in an attempt to do what? To intimidate these Haitian Americans who came here legally. They're not illegal migrants the way he keeps telling that lie, him and J.D. Vance. And everywhere he goes, he tells the same lie over and over. In case that was too subtle, the former president also published a statement to his social media platform condemning Vice President Kamala Harris's debate rhetoric, adding that, quote, because of this communist leftist rhetoric, the bullets are flying and it will only get worse, close quote. So a few things. Really? How about this? How about the ideology of Hitler being propagated all the time? How about the ideology of white nationalism? How about the ideology of putting blacks in their place, going back to slavery, going back to segregation, going back to lynching, going back to Jim Crow, going back to an era where the KKK terrorized black people, especially out the South? How about that? How about the fact that Putin wanted Trump to be president in 2016 and did everything that he could to help him get elected as president in 2016? First, the investigation into the alleged would-be shooter is just beginning. The idea that the former president can speak to the subject's motivations in detail is difficult to take seriously. Given the preliminary evidence, Ryan Wesley, Ruth's politics were, to put it mildly, idiosyncratic, supporting Republican, Democratic, and independent candidates, including in 2016 Trump himself, to characterize him as some kind of lifelong Democratic partisan is a stretch. Second, Trump clearly seen accusations that he's a threat to democracy is beyond the pale. But in reality, the Republican candidate really has endorsed an authoritarian-style vision that would undermine democracy. This assessment is based almost entirely on Trump's own rhetoric and public statements when the former president's critics in Democratic politics and elsewhere accuse him of being a threat to democracy. Their case is rooted in fact. So he's allowed to spew all types of rhetoric and things out of his mouth. Stir up hate, stir up bitterness, stir up the races, stir up confusion. Things like he stated that if he loses the election, blood will be shed. So you threaten to have a revolutionary war if people don't just lay down and vote for him. That's why I keep telling you all over and over again, do your homework. Do your research, study things for yourself. Don't let somebody else do your homework for you. Third, these assessments aren't just coming from the left. Trump's own former defense secretary, Mark Esper, has described the former president as a threat to democracy. The Washington Post's Bob Woodward, who remained neutral in every presidential race throughout his lengthy career, made an exception for Trump, calling him a threat to democracy. Retired federal judge J. Michael Luttig, a giant of conservative jurisprudence, directly accused Trump and his allies of waging a war on democracy, adding that the former president is a clear and present danger to American democracy, quote unquote. Fourth, if Trump genuinely believes that accusations about threats to democracy are beyond the pale, he should probably take a moment to explain why he keeps accusing people he dislikes of being threats to democracy. At last week's presidential debate, for example, he pointed at his Democratic rival and declared, quote, they talk about democracy, I'm a threat to democracy, they're the threat to democracy, close quote, because he can't take it. That's the bottom line. He can dish it out, but he can't take it because he's a bully. In fact, literally just a few hours before Sunday's apparent assassination attempt, the GOP nominee published an item to his social media platform that read in its entirety, quote, the failing New York Times is a true threat to democracy, close quote. By Trump reasoning, if someone were to target Biden, Harris, or the nation's most widely read newspaper, would be responsible for the violence. Fifth, the hypocrisy surrounding the former president's latest rant was staggering. In the same interview with Fox Digital News, the racist and bigoted network, in which he accused Democrats of creating security threats by using caustic rhetoric. Trump said Democrats want to destroy our country and are currently destroying the country. He added again in the interview in which he was arguing that Democrats ought to dial down their comments that Democrats are the enemy from within and the threat from without. Well, they're not going to stop attacking you because you want to stop attacking them. J.D. Vance is on the attack and you're on the attack. But you want the Democrats to roll over, lie down, play dead, allow you to stomp all over them so your numbers can go up in the polls because you want to win the election by hook or crook. They're the ones that are planning to steal the election. They use highly inflammatory language, Trump went on, referencing his partisan detractors. I can use it too, far better than they can, but I don't. Evidently, in reality, Trump is unaware of his own choice of words. To be sure, I'm mindful of the circumstances. Trump doesn't want to be criticized, and he would love nothing more than to bully Democrats into pulling their punches in the campaign's final 50 days. Not happening, even as he condemns them in increasingly hysterical terms. Many Republicans apparently want the public to believe that it's dangerous to tell voters that a dangerous candidate is actually dangerous. Well, y'all can forget that. We're in too deep. This man has caused more havoc, more trouble, more pandemonium and chaos than any other presidential candidate who has ever attempted to ascend to the highest office of the land. Indeed, one notable politician asked over the weekend, are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence, quote, close quote. The question came from Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance. And that's the problem. Because Trump wants everybody just to allow him to just become president and nobody is supposed to run against him. Well, it's too late now. We're not going to forget the terrible things you've said about Barack Obama. We're not going to forget about how you keep talking about black people, how you call us gorillas, apes, monkeys, and baboons. We're not going to forget how you want racism and bigotry and the KKK, and you want the Ku Klux Klan. You want all these people to support you and to put you in power, and you think black people are just supposed to lay down, roll over, and play dead. The individual who caused the trouble down in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis said he will be charged to the fullest extent of the law, and that's what's going to happen. But the Democrats are not the reason why that it happened. Never surrender, never quit.